Hi, I'm Alondra, and I just finished going through one of the most life-altering, character-defining phases of my life. Just like most people, I've always dreamed of being a star, sharing my art with the world, making music that people can feel and relate to, performing like no one's watching. Except for me, it's never been a dream. It's always been an unrelenting hunger. I was raised in a very music-influenced family, so I've naturally gravitated towards music, whether it be learning how to play the flute, violin, piano, doing choir. I was really deep into it. In a world where, to most people, dreams like that only seem achievable to those with a household name, it just became daunting to admit what I really wanted. I seriously started believing that music, despite it being my true passion since my very existence, wasn't the way to go. So, the first path that I took was throwing away what I had built already with music and going to nursing school for my freshman year of college. And as much as I kept forcing myself to believe that I ended up loving it, nothing could ever compare to the years I spent loving music. So that whole semester, on top of all the coursework I had for nursing, I was working my butt off to prepare myself for my audition into the music technology major at my school. And my work did pay off, because I came back for the spring semester as a music major. And you'd think that'd be my happy ever after, but it wasn't. I thought so too, but it wasn't. It was really, really far from it. And in fact, I think I felt more lost there than I did as a nursing major. Because unlike nursing, where it's all smarts, music was all talent. Music was vulnerable. I was in such a rush to leave nursing and pursue music that I didn't realize what I was signing up for. I signed up for more classical training on my flute, and I wasn't actually signing up for becoming an artist and creating songs, from lyrics to production. Sure, there weren't weekly exams and labs, but there were weekly private lessons that would genuinely drive me into a panic in the practice rooms. And your progression in the major was dependent entirely on how you performed at your jury. Juries are basically auditions all over again, except they happen at the end of every semester. So you can imagine how I felt. I only managed nursing because it didn't weaponize something that I held so dearly to my heart. But there, as a music major, I really felt like I was having an identity crisis. I had no idea what I was doing, and if I even had what it takes to stay in the program. Music was becoming an enemy to me, and I was hating that. Because what do you mean it took me years to rediscover myself, and the one time I grow the guts to do what it is that I want, I end up all sorts of lost again? I knew that what was going on couldn't be something I could handle for another 4 years, and I wasn't willing to, even if I could handle it. So I started from step one all over again. I did my research during the rest of my spring semester. What other schooling options were there out for me? Did I want to continue schooling? How fast could I get out of my current college? Was I sure? Could I handle the process even if it would be isolating at times? Despite all of that, I moved out and withdrew by April 5th, 2026. And I had genuinely no idea what was waiting for me at the time. But come May 1st, and I received an email from a certificate program that I had applied to, Yellow Brick and NYU's Music Industry Essentials program. They were offering me a spot and a scholarship. And fast forward to a random night on July 18th, 2026, somewhere around 10:40 p.m. I opened my Berklee Online application portal. My decision letter was available. I discovered their songwriting and producing music BA while doing my research. And since I officially left my previous college, I've been working for months, writing the best personal statement I could, creating YouTube covers of songs and posting them on all over my socials, trying to build some sort of an audience and community willing to be one of my day ones. And I even finished a song that perfectly encapsulates the story of my life. If there is any breakthrough that I was waiting for, it was Berklee. And it seems that, like, all the prayers I've prayed have been answered, because just when I was starting to think I'm not going to make it, I was accepted. I tell this story because it took me a full year, a whole 12 months, from when I first started nursing school, two completely different rediscoveries, and a whole lot of trial and error, faith and hope, and being comfortable with setbacks to get where I am right now. And honestly speaking, it's probably going to take me another year to even start to just graze the borderline of who I really want to be. In other words, discovering or rediscovering who you are is not linear. And it never will be, because it was never meant to be. Just because there is a setback doesn't make you a failure or put to close to whatever it is you're chasing. It just means you gotta be comfortable with going back to step one and working yourself back up. My story isn't even in full. There are so many other small challenges that took place during these periods of rediscovery that, even though it was hard in the moment, they made me stronger. The whole journey so far has taught me so many lessons and has defined many strengths that I didn't even know I had. Rediscovery and building something from nothing is what helps you find your direction, and your direction is always more important than the time it took you to get to where you wanted to be. So if this popped up on your feed, or however you found me, I'm assuming it's because you're on the same journey as me. And just like me, you're looking for someone to remind you that the journey isn't always going to make sense, but as long as you keep putting in the work, you'll get to where you want to be. My someone was the Lord. But in the case that you aren't religious like I am, I'm happy to serve as that someone for you and continue sharing my journey and my story to whoever's watching right now. To remind you that regardless of how ambitious a dream of yours is, it's not impossible. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a long time. I even doubt myself still right now. But this is just our beginning. So let's promise to each other that we'll keep going. We've got our younger selves to make proud. Till next time.